Hello and welcome to Eastern Roman history. Heraklonas, also known as Constantine Heraklius or Heraclius II, was the son of Heraclius by Martina. With the death of Constantine III, Martina, who was the real power behind the throne, hoped to take control of the government, which was fiercely opposed to her and Heraklonas because of her incestuous marriage to Heraclius, and thus viewed Heraklonas as illegitimate. With Heraklonas becoming the senior emperor, the sons of Constantine III, Heraclius, 11 years old, and Theodosius, 9 years old, were proclaimed co-emperors by the Senate. His reign was plagued by the imminent loss of all Egypt and the continuing difficulties surrounding the monothelite controversy, as well as severe shortages in resources and manpower caused by the constant wars, bubonic plague, and massive losses of territory, as well as the crisis of succession between the Eudoxian and Martinian branches of Heraclius' children. An interesting development during this time was the old system of Roman family names fell out of use in the late 7th century, noted by Judith Herrin in the formation of Christendom. Martina, who was effectively the ruler of the empire, sent the Alexandrian Patriarch Cyrus back to Egypt with an army under the command of a general called Constantine, as Constantine III planned to do. She recalled Pyrrhus from exile to the Patriarchate of Constantinople. He stopped imperial donations to churches and confirmed church taxes. He exiled Phalegrius, the minister of the treasury, to North Africa in revenge for his hostile actions towards him and her during the reign of her stepson. Still under the regency of his mother Martina, rumours that Constantine had been poisoned likely reflect the bad feelings the Senate had towards Martina, and in September the Senate moved against her. However, Martina did not have any support from the army, as Valentine, who was in command of the eastern armies, was hostile to her. In addition, she could not match the donatives that Constantine III had given to the army, and she lacked the available funds to buy their loyalty. Valentine quickly marched his troops to Chalcedon to defend the sons of Constantine III from Martina. This, however, was at the cost of denuding the eastern frontier, allowing the Muslim Arabs to raid into Anatolia for the first time. The arrival of Valentine to within striking distance of Constantinople, and the banishment of Phalegrius, who was very popular, prompted the Constantinopolitans to form a mob and start making demands from Martina, which she complied with. First, she had to get the Patriarch Pyrrhus to crown Heraclius, renamed Heraclius Constantine, like his father, by the mob. Next, Pyrrhus was to abdicate the patriarchal throne and replaced by Paul II in 642. Martina also offered Valentine the title of Count of the Excubators, the commander of the imperial bodyguard, recalled Valentinian's patron Phalegrius from exile, and she even offered to pay another donative to the troops. The mob also castrated Heraklonas' youngest surviving brother, who died due to the operation. Her regency lasted another month before Valentine entered the capital and deposed Heraklonas and Martina. Not being able to bring himself to kill a woman and her child, who were not usurpers, Valentine instead cut off Heraklonas' nose and slit Martina's tongue, punishments that were far more common in ordinary crimes. This established the principle that disfigurement is sufficient to make someone ineligible to rule. The Senate proclaimed Constans II, the eldest son of Constantine III, the legitimate emperor, and Martina and Heraklonas were deposed, mutilated, and exiled to Rome. John of Nikou sums up the reign, or non-reign, of Heraklonas. The Chronicle of John, Bishop of Nikou, chapter 190, paragraph 18. And, after the death of Constantine, the son of Heraclius, they brought forward Heraclius, his brother on his father's side, though but an infant. But his ascension to the empire was as ideal as had been that of his brother who died. I have been your host, Daniel Maynard, and will see you next time.